So I got the brand new 2021, it just came out, Rode Wireless Go 2 dual channel microphone system here. If you're interested in a range test on these to see how far they can transmit when you're facing away and to the receiver, and with a little bit of obstacles, make sure you check out my range test video that I just posted a few days ago. But in today's video, I wanted to show you a few custom features that you can access that are only available on the new version 2 via the Rode Central app, and talk a little bit about the internal recording on these transmitters. Now that's one awesome feature to have. However, it does come with a few limitations and one big disappointment that I'm hoping they will fix in a future update. So all you have to do to access the Rode Central app is to download it via the Rode website, and it's only available for Mac or PC. It's not available for cell phones, and I'm not sure if it's going to be or not. Now, if they do end up making a version for the cell phones, which like I said, I'm not sure if they will, you will have to find a way to plug these into your phones if that's the case, because these do not have any Bluetooth built into them, so you have to have them plugged directly into your computer to change any of these custom settings. So let's go ahead and show you guys exactly how this Rode Central app works, and then we'll discuss some of the flaws of the internal recording on these. So once you get the Rode Central app downloaded onto your computer, all you have to do is plug the transmitter or the receivers in via the USB-C cable that they give you. It's a USB-C to USB-A type cable. You just plug it in there, open up the app. Now the first time you do this, it's probably going to tell you that you're going to need an update to be able to use these with the app. That's not a big deal. Just let each one of them update, and then you will be able to connect to the app. So first, let's check out the receiver and see what kind of settings you can change in the Rode Central app. So all you have to do is open up the Rode Central app on your computer, plug in the receiver with the USB-C cable, and it will tell you the firmware version that you're on. I'm on the current one up here at version 1.1.9. And then these are a few of the settings that you can change. So if you go right here, you can actually sync your device for your date and time. You can make it match your computer's date and time, which is pretty nice. It tells you your battery life, firmware version. What I changed in mine, when you get it, it's set for coarse. So the gain of your receiver, when you get it, only has 3 levels of gain: high, medium, and low in 12 dB increments. So it'll go 0, -12, -24. If you change this to fine, you could change your dB from 0 all the way down to 30 in 3 decibel increments instead of 12 decibel increments, which I find to be a little easier to match to my camera and get the audio correct. The only downfall is, as you're adjusting the gain, it only goes one way, so if you pass up your setting, you have to go all the way through until you hit it again. Then you could change here for merged mode or split mode. You could change that on the receiver as well. You don't have to do that through this Rode Central app. You could turn the safety channel on. Now this you have to do from the Rode Central app. You cannot do it externally from here. It would have been nice if they would have made some kind of sequence of button pushes to be able to access that from here directly. I believe it records a -20 dB safety channel. And the only way that you can do this is if you have the audio set to merged. You cannot have your transmitters recording a left and right channel in split audio and then turn the safety channel on. It will not work. So you can only do merged audio and have a safety channel, because it's going to take one of those channels and record it, like I said, lower, and it is going to be a little bit more work in post if you do this. You can also change the power button to turn on the backlight or to put a marker on your recording. And I'll show you what those markers are when we go into the internal recording on the transmitters. So those are pretty much the main features that you could change on the Rode Central app. For me, I probably won't be using the safety channel all that much, but I will be using the fine gain control. So once I set that up for the fine gain control, I'm probably more than likely not going to have to plug this back in and change it. I'll just leave it set at that, and I will be good to go with this. Now we're going to plug in the transmitter, and I'm going to show you how to set up the internal recording on those, and then we're going to go into why there's a big flaw with the way this internal recording works. So I got the transmitter plugged in. I'm going to open up the Rode Central app, and you will see whenever you open it up, it will show you loading recordings, because I have this one set up to do the backup recording. So these are all my backup recording clips. And to set this up to do the backup recording onto the transmitters, you go into the settings here with this settings button, and then you turn the recording button on. Off, it will not record internally onto these, and on it will. And then you can actually turn your mute button off, which is a nice feature if you're afraid of hitting this mute button while you're recording it. Because if you're out and you may not know if you're not looking at your camera that you accidentally muted it. So that's a nice feature that you can actually turn that off if you want to. And then you will not be able to mute your audio from the transmitter. So those are really the only two settings that you can change on the transmitters here. Turn on and off the recording, and then turn the mute button on and off. But this is what I was most excited about on this system, and that is the internal recording feature. So real quickly here, you can see all my recordings here from my tests from the last day or two, me and my son. And what's nice is when it loses signal, you can see here that it puts flags wherever it loses connection. However, this big stretch here is when I lost connection for a long time and shut the receiver off. It never flagged all that, but at least it flags at the beginning of when you start losing signal, so you kind of have an idea of where to look. What's pretty cool is you can actually just export part of your clip if you want. You could drag this over to where you lost your audio, and then drag the ending over, and then you could just export this selection right here, or you can export the whole thing. Now you can export this in WAV, MP3, 48 kilohertz, 44.1 kilohertz, 24 bits PCM, or 32 bits float. Now from what I read, a lot of people wanted the float option. I don't know too much about it. If you do know about 32-bit float and if that's useful or not, please put down in the comments, let me know, because I have no idea what it's for, but I know a lot of people were excited about it. However, now we're going to discuss the flaws of the internal recording. So now once you initiate the recording on your transmitters, and the only way to do that is through the computer, there's no way to turn it on to record from the device itself. Once you have it activated, to start recording on these, you got to turn this transmitter on and then turn your receiver on. Once the transmitter connects to your receiver, it will automatically start recording on the transmitter up to, I believe it said I had 42 plus hours remaining, so it will record a very long time in compressed mode. If you do uncompressed mode, I think it was rated for like 7 hours, which is great, works nice. It would have been nice if they could have incorporated it to where as soon as you turn this on, it starts recording and not have to connect to this, because if your battery was dead on this, or say something would happen and you didn't have this as an option to record, you could just use this, clip it on you, record, and then sync it up later in post. However, like I said, this will not start recording until it receives connection from the receiver and connects. Once it connects, that's when it starts recording. I can live with that. Even if you can't use these without the receiver, that's fine. However, the main downfall is if this loses connection, say you're out, you're recording, and you go out of range, which is, like I said, around 80 feet if you're facing away from the receiver, and it's rated for up to 652 feet if you're facing towards the receiver. If you want to check that out, make sure you check out my range test. I show you exactly in detail how far I got. The main issue is if you get out of that range, it does continue to record. If you come back into range, everything's fine. You shut either the receiver or the transmitter off, it shuts down, it saves the recording. Perfectly fine, works great. However, the biggest downfall that I've seen, and I've tested this multiple times with my son, I took about 2 hours last night just to test it because I like to know how things work. I like to know what to expect if I'm going to lose audio or whatever. And if this never comes back into range with this and syncs up with it when you shut them off, it does not hold the internal recording whatsoever. So if this goes out of range and this shuts off and this never comes back on and reconnects to your transmitter, your recording does not save at all. Basically, if this doesn't shut off or this doesn't shut off when they're connected, the recording does not hold. It does not save the recording. So these both have to be connected to each other whenever you shut one or the other down. If you shut, it doesn't matter which order you shut them down in, but they have to be connected when you shut them down for the recording to save. Now that has me slightly concerned that if the battery dies on the receiver while it's recording on you, that would be nice if it continued to record and it would save the recording at the end. That's one of the main things that I would want the internal recording for on these, in case the receiver dies. However, when you shut the receiver off, when it's in range of the transmitter, it stops that recording. Like if you physically shut it off. So if the battery dies, is it going to stop that recording? Or is it just not going to save? I don't know. I do want to test this feature in the future, which might be a little hard to do. But once I get that tested, I will put my results in the description of this video down below, or I'll pin a comment down in the comments and let you know my test results to find out. So that's one big issue I see with these, because they're not 100% fail-safe. They work great in most cases. Most people, they'll come back, it'll reconnect, and if you shut them down normally, you'll be fine. But like I said, certain scenarios, if your battery dies, is it going to stop the recording? Or if you're out of range and then your battery dies, then there's no way for it to save your recording until it syncs back up. So I would recommend you would have to plug a USB-C power bank in maybe to power this back on before shutting this down so that it saves your recording. So there's my main flaw that I see with the internal recording on these. I hope it helps you in making a decision whether or not these are right for you, because I was excited to have this as a feature, and that's one big flaw in my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please consider subscribing, and I will see you around on the next one. Thanks for watching.